And then when Gary says go, I'll move it to that.
So you are in the right place, and it'll be a few minutes. We're just waiting until everybody gets in the room before we get started this evening.
All right, Jim, your number stopped.
It's about 200, Jim. A very nice turnout.
Good. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this freshman registration presentation / orientation. I'd like to begin by introducing our superintendent, Dr. Von Mansfield, and our principal, Dr. Jerry Anderson.
Well, just a quick word to say welcome, and you're going to get a lot of great information tonight, and not a whole lot different than we would in person. It's just a great chance for us to pull some things together and hopefully give you a little bit of comfort in terms of what you're going into. And my favorite thing to say is, for some of you guys, I know you're clapping your hands because this is your last freshman coming through and you're almost done. And for some of our other parents, this is your very first freshman. And just breaking the ice and trying to get a lay of the land can be daunting, to say the very least, especially in these conditions. So we're here to help and put names with faces, and certainly we're going to make sure this is as smooth of a transition as possible.
And I would just add on that to say, you're in good hands here. This does look a little bit different. It feels a little bit different, but we are going to do our best to make sure that, as Dr. Mansfield said, your student has an excellent beginning here at Homewood-Flossmoor High School. So tonight you will have good information. You'll get a chance to ask some questions and have them addressed. And with that, I will turn it back over to Jim Schmidt and Dave Cush, who will take the program from here.
Just one housekeeping item before we begin. Thanks, Dr. Mansfield and Dr. Anderson. Parents and students that are joining us, thanks for being here tonight. As we're going through the presentations, if you have any questions, there's a Q&A tab on the bottom of your screen. Click on that and go ahead and jot in your question. And once we finish through all our slides, we will begin to answer as many questions as we can up until the time of 8:30, which should be more than enough time in order for us to answer any questions that you may have. So with that being said, we'll begin. Our first presenter of the evening will be Dave Cush. You're on mute, Dave.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. So I just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the course selection process, primarily for core courses. So first, a brief introduction. As Jim mentioned, my name is Dave Cush. I'm the Department Chair of Assessment at HF. It's kind of a jack of all trades position where we do everything from data and testing to working with teachers and curriculum and instruction and all kinds of other things. In this process, my main function has been to help collect all that data from the foundation schools that your students are currently attending, and to bring all of that into a report for you to look at, as well as coordinate some of the other materials that you've received over the last couple of days. So Jim, if you want to go on to the next slide. So what we're going to talk about today first is really the course selection overview. I think this is the thing that everybody's most interested in this process, right? What classes do I get to take next year, and how does my schedule look? So over the next week, what we're really going to emphasize going on is there's some course guidelines that you've received along with your student report. So we'd like you to review those. I'm going to spend some time talking about those over the next few minutes. Also, you'll have an opportunity to select your elective courses and enter those right into the system. Jim is going to give you more information on that later on in the presentation. And then on Saturday, you'll have an appointment with an individual appointment with a staff member at HF to kind of go over any questions you may have, solidify all your decisions, and then we'll make sure everything is formalized. So that's kind of the general lay of the land for the process. And then, as I mentioned a minute ago, I'm going to talk mostly about that core course part of it, the course selection guidelines and the report that you've received on your student. And then Jim will take over again after that. So now we'll go on to the course part. And really, this is kind of just the visual here, right? It's a two-part process. So you're going to you should have a course selection report. If you didn't receive that report, I'll have some information about that in just a moment. We should have a course selection report that's got some information about your students' past performance in different areas, a survey that we gave them with some questions and things like that. And then also we're giving you the course selection guidelines, which basically describe the differences between the different levels of our courses and what you can expect at each one. So ultimately, you take those two things together to make the best decision for your student. We're here to answer any questions along the way. So in the next slide, you see a more detailed view of the course report. So I want to say a couple of things about this first and foremost. If you received one of these and that section where it says welcome survey responses is blank, I'm going to post a link in the chat in just a couple of moments when I'm finished, and you can click that link to take the survey if your student hasn't had a chance to fill that out yet. We'll get that processed over the next couple of days, and then we can send out a new report to you. Secondly, if anything else looks wrong, for example, if the grades are missing or there's data that you don't expect, data missing that you would expect to see, we're going to ask you to email the assessment office, and I'll post that email in the links as well in just a moment. Meanwhile, it is measter@hf233.org. That's measter@hf233.org. And just, if you could let us know your student's name, their ID number if you have it. If not, just their name is fine. And then what particular thing looks wrong with the report, and we'll look into it if you see anything missing. Sometimes you just have to match up a number between the information we've received from the foundation schools. So the three main sources of data on here, as I mentioned, is the welcome survey, grades, and then in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the test score information we have. This is the most recent test score data that we were able to collect from the foundation schools. So it comes from sometime over the past fall. If your student goes to James Hart, it is the STAR assessment, which also provides the Lexile score. If your student goes to Parker or Brookwood, it's NWEA MAP. And if your student goes to IJP, I believe it is the Scholastic Achievement Test, not the SAT that students take in high school, but the one for private schools. So that information should be on there, in particular the percentile ranks and the Lexile score. So that's information about your student. Ultimately, grades are the best predictor of performance in the future. So it's something to think about in terms of what the student focuses on. That's more important than the test scores, which tend to take snapshots of one day. So grades, because they take into account all the long run habitual work over time and things like that, that's pretty important. We included the information about the survey just to want to get to know students. It also helps our guidance counselors as they work with them in the future. And then oftentimes those outside commitments, personal interests, and things like that also play a factor in course selection. So the other document that you receive is the course selection guidelines. Now it's a little bit longer than what you see on screen, but ultimately the information we provide there for the main core courses, and that would be English, math, science, and reading. For each of those, we show what the levels that are offered are, and then for each level, summary of the academic skills that are focused on, or in some cases, there'll be some notes about academic skills that are assumed, self-management skills that are taught in the course. This very much is often focused on the sort of things that students will be expected to do without support versus the things that the course will focus on instructing the students to do over the duration. Grading practices, how much the tests are weighted, homework policies, things like that. There's a section for outside of time commitment, and then just other notes, kind of varies per course or department that may be helpful in making a decision. So those are there to help you kind of get a sense of what the differences are between the courses, and then kind of combine that with your students' report to go on to make those initial selections. So in the next slide, we talk about exactly what that process looks like. You start with your student report, review the course selection guidelines. The default selection coming in is college prep. And then after that, you use the guidelines to determine if honors is a better fit. And then certainly if you feel academic core, or we'll have a conversation about that in that case on Saturday, if that's the best fit. Generally, students who have completed 8th grade successfully are going to go into college prep courses, and in some cases they go into honors courses. So you make your initial selections. There's nothing to do at this time in terms of entering them in. You just want to have in mind for those areas what your courses will be, and then you bring those to the conversation on Saturday. All right, so I'm going to turn it back over to Jim. Jim is our department chair of guidance, so he has obviously a really big role in the school overall, and this is primarily his show in terms of getting things going with registration. So I'll stay on to answer questions as well. And again, just wanted to welcome you. Also, as always, I want to say, feel free to treat me like an additional guidance counselor or a helper for your student. If they need assistance with something, if you need assistance with something, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to, if I can't answer your question directly, I can directly connect you with someone who can. And we'll post that as well in the Q&A. All right, Jim. You're muted, Jim.
Thanks, Dave. All of this does not happen, certainly without the leadership and direction of Dave Cush and his assessment office. So, Dave, the way you described yourself is like that 9th guidance counselor, and I would agree with that. Dave works very closely with our office. Our office works very closely with his. And our goal is to really ensure the proper placement of our students. We want to make sure that you are successful in your classes, right? And I'll talk about what that looks like in just a little bit. But starting off freshman year with a strong, successful foundation is going to be the key of an enjoyable and a growth mindset over the next 4 years. So also out of the guidance office, my role, in addition to working with Dave's office, is to develop programming that prepares your students for that post-high school plan, college, career, scholarship, military, and that the face of that is changing on a year-to-year basis. We are one of the few high schools in the south suburbs that offers 2 full-time college counselors, and their job is to be proactive on that end so that we can be proactive on our end, working with your children coming in as freshmen. In addition to that, we have one of our guidance counselors who's also keenly connected with the career tracks in the south suburban area. So our goal is to make sure that your children are prepared upon graduation to move forward successfully. And then finally, just to help promote and support the social emotional health and development of all of our students. And I know for our parents who are, this is your first child in high school, sometimes it can be, HF may seem overwhelming. I know this past week or the past 2 weeks, with the amount of information that you've been inundated with, we're going to help pull that together tonight into a format in which we think it's more manageable for you, understandable, workable, and preparation for Saturday. What I'm going to encourage you to do is just sit back. I'll say relax, kind of tongue in cheek, take a deep breath. And here's what I say that. You have a phenomenal staff out of the guidance office, out of the HF staff, right? Our administration and our school board that are here to support you. Our goal isn't to just move your children through HF. Our goal is to help your child grow and develop so when they graduate, they are ready to go on to that in which they are interested in. And the majority of our students have done that in the past and will continue to do that in the future. So please know that our staff is here to help support you through this. So our first step is, how do you organize everything that we've gotten over the last, or that you've received over the last couple weeks? And I know some of it's come via email, some of it's come via US postal mail, some has been on our website. And normally what you'll find is most everything is connected in everything that you've received. The problem is trying to pull together. If you go through your different pieces of information, if you can pull out your students' course selection report, Mr. Cush just presented on this, your course selection guidelines, Mr. Cush just presented on this. Both of these items were emailed directly to the parents' email account that we received from the sending schools. Have handy your academic course selection book. For those of you that picked one up on the campus last week or today, you have that handy. You can also access that through our website. If you would like one and haven't picked one up yet, I will cover in just a minute how to do that. All right, required freshman courses. For those that did come up to campus to pick up that packet, inside that packet, there's several yellow sheets of paper stapled together. Those are all the freshman courses that you could pick. And you'll see, I believe there's about 4 or 5 pages of elective classes for you to sift through. All right, we'll talk about that in just a minute. And then also in that packet that you would have picked up, and by the way, this information is also located on our website, but also in that packet is our HF department chair's contact information. When I mention that our staff is available to you, our staff is available to you. Please, as you're working through your material this week, if you have any questions, you have every phone number, and email address to every department chair at HF. Don't hesitate to reach out and have your questions answered prior to Saturday, okay? So HF graduation requirements, it's broken down for you right there. You're gonna take 4 years of math, 4 years of English. Most of our students will take more than 3 years of math, but the minimum requirement of math is enrolled in math through junior year. All right, but as I said, the majority of our students will stay enrolled in math through their senior year. In fact, a lot of our students will graduate with anywhere between 5 and 6, sometimes 7 math courses. And you can do that through the number of other electives that are offered in our math department. Social science, you will have 3.5 years of that. You will take 1 full year of world history. That can be taken in the form of AP World, AP Euro, or World History Honors, College Prep, or Academic Core level. You'll also take that 1 year of US, also same levels are offered. You'll take 1 year of economics, also same levels are offered, and you will take a half a year of civics. However, if you'd like to take that at the full, you'd like to take that at the AP level, that is a full year credit, okay? Physical education, you will take 4 years. Freshman year, it's freshman PE and health. Career and technical education, you will be amazed at the number of electives that we offer in the career track of preparation out of our career and technical education department. Fine arts, same thing. One of the things I share about our fine arts department, it was last year before we actually went into quarantine and then went into remote learning. A number of our fine arts seniors were in a fine arts show. At the completion of that show, 7 of our students had earned over $3.5 million of scholarship money in that one show. Our fine arts department, it's a 4-year developmental track, very talented teachers there. World language. By the way, notice here it says 1 year. An HF requirement states you have to have 1 year of one of those, not 1 year of all of those. But the majority of our students will take multiple years of each of these. And I pause at the world language because while world language is technically not an HF graduation requirement, I will strongly stress it is a college admissions requirement. And our message to our students and parents are always 2 years is good, 3 years is better, 4 years is best. All right, so keep that in mind for your world language. And then performing arts, once again, a very talented department. Our students are phenomenally talented in broadcasting, music, theater. Many of them go on and study in some of the best institutions in the country and are currently working professionally in the fine arts and performing arts areas. So by the time you reach graduation, minimally you have to have 22 credits. The majority of our students will have between 26 and 28. I've seen the most credits a student I believe has ever had is either 32 or 33 credits. There are ways to garner that many credits, and we can talk about that at another time. What does your freshman year look like? You're going to take a full year of English, a full year of biology. You will take math. You will either be coming in algebra, geometry, or algebra 2 trig. If you are currently enrolled in algebra 2 trig, then you will start your freshman year in pre-calc. Remember, the math requirement for HF is you must be enrolled in math for 3 years, all the way through your junior year minimally, right? You will take health and freshman PE, and then you have 2 elective slots. And then if you take a first period class, which I'll talk about that in just a minute, you could have a possible other elective, depending on if you take a first period or not. On track for graduation at the completion of your freshman year, you want to have minimally have earned 5.5 credits, okay? Now, this week, how are you going to possibly select classes if this is your first time through? First of all, let me highlight once again the tools I'm going to encourage you to use in researching. First of all, in the packet you received, look at the yellow stapled sheets. Those are all the classes that freshmen are able to take at HF. The first page are all the graduation requirements. The second page are all the classes that we offer for the optional first period. All right, notice I said optional. You do not have to take a first period here, and I'll talk more about that in just a minute, okay? And then the following 3.5 pages, I believe, are all of the electives that you can choose as a freshman, all right? This is the work that I want you to work on over the week. This is what I want you to focus in on. First of all, look at those core courses, all right? Which classes are you, what levels are you going to take those classes at? The great thing about HF is that it's not a clear cut like a tracking system where every kid has to go into this level course or every student has to go into that level class. What it is maybe there's an area where you have a strong suit of math or science. I want to take that at the honors level, and maybe I've struggled in a particular area and I want to develop some more skill sets before I move into honors or AP. Maybe you start in that particular subject area in college prep. I don't want you thinking one size fits all for every class. As Mr. Cush pointed out, you have the course selection document describing each of the course levels for each of the core courses. Please utilize that document when thinking about what course levels you're going to take for your core courses, all right? Utilize your academic course selection book. If you don't have that yet or you haven't been on campus to pick one up, you can do that. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's also available on the HF website, okay? Please read the course descriptions. The course description book is broken down alphabetically, okay? Meaning departmentally. Your first department will begin with career and technical education, and it will end with world language, all right? Make sure you review the student's course selection report, all right? How are you currently performing? How have you performed in the past? There's a lot of information on that that's valuable, all right? And then, of course, once again, utilize your course selection guidelines document, all right? Finally, things to consider when selecting your classes, okay? Push-pull philosophy. Another thing I love about HF, as I said, we do not clearly put you in a track and say you're in this, and in order to get out, you got to do X, Y, Z. All right, this is a partnership, and I want to stress this partnership. Parents, students, HF staff, meaning teachers, department chairs, school counselors, all right, whoever you can get your hands on to talk to. All right, we are here to help you make the best informed decision that you can so you have a meaningful and productive and most importantly, a successful freshman year. The push-pull philosophy is just this, all right? If you are willing to push yourself into the next highest level, let's say, for example, you're normally thinking, all right, I'm going to begin college prep, but in this particular subject, I want to really try honors. If you're willing to, all right, and you think you can be successful at that level, all right, we are going to encourage you to take that leap and trust that HF is going to be there to pull you along. That's that push-pull philosophy, okay? Challenge yourself to take the most rigorous courses where you can achieve success. But this is extremely important. It's not just the level I want to be at, it's the level where I can be most successful at. Meaning an HF defines success as A's, B's, or the occasional C. And when we say occasional C, we mean over the course of 4 years, not in each year. And the reason we do that is because your grade point average is extremely important. Grades matter, right? Your grade point average is important, okay, for a number of reasons, all right? So once again, challenge yourself, push yourself. Look at those class levels and see, can I go to that next level? Can I be successful? And then ask the question, how is HF going to help us? What is HF going to provide? All right. There's a number of things to before and after school tutoring, individual supports within the classroom from the teacher before and after school as well, department chairs, reaching out to your counselors. If there's resources available that you need and we have access to it, we will make those available to you. Okay. So once again, course levels, your academic core are foundationally, we started at that academic core level in which we're talking about, foundational skill development and support. But as Mr. Cush pointed out, and I want to stress this, if you're graduating from junior high, which you are because you're coming to HF, really that default starting point is college prep, right? But there might be some situations where you're struggling and you'd like to take a step back and maybe work on some skill development. That's a conversation for you to have, possibly with the department chair, certainly with the staff member that you meet with next weekend, or reach out into the guidance office. All right, have the conversation about what, and we will help you as much as we can, help guide you to that course level in which you can be most successful. I do want to stress that academic core, while it is foundational skill development, we do not want our students remaining at that level. We want you, just like any level, we want you at that level. We want you showing success. Remember, A's, B's, the occasional C. Once you reach that, we want you challenging yourself to the next level. Once you reach that, go to the next level. Our goal is, and if this is how you want to continue to grow and mature academically, our goal is to get as many students as we can into that highest level, most rigorous courses. And hopefully by the time you graduate, there might be 1, 2, maybe more advanced placement AP level courses for you in there. All right. The other thing about academic core, it's important that you understand. Right now, our academic core courses are not recognized as NCAA qualifying courses. Okay, meaning when you go to, let's say, for example, you have aspirations to play college sports. If it's a D1 or D2 or an NAIA, there are certain grade point average benchmarks that you are going to have to reach. And in order to do that, they're going to reach back into your transcript and they're going to look at your core courses. And they're going to make sure that the classes you took were NCAA qualifiers. And then they will calculate a grade point average for you. It's a much bigger conversation somewhere down the line, but I want you to know on the front end that those academic cores are not recognized by the NCAA as qualifiers. For us, qualifiers start at the college prep level, all right? And once again, I want to stress, any level that you begin, your goal is to grow within that level to success and then move to the next level. That's the push-pull philosophy. All right. Finally, another thing in course selection, think of the parent and academic advisor input, meaning now there I'm talking specifically to students. Students, talk to your parents about this. Parents, this is a partnership with us and you to help your child. So parents, don't hesitate. In your meeting on Saturday, ask as many questions as you want. Students, same thing. Over the week, jot those questions down, bring those with you to your meeting. We're going to spend that time with you to answer your questions so you can make sound decisions, all right? Also, please review and consider your current grades. How are you currently performing? As Mr. Cush pointed out earlier, current performance is usually a good predictor of future performance. Also, check your previous test scores as well as performances. Now, the 6 or 7 classes, do you want the first period? If you want a first period class, that school day under normal circumstances begins at 7:30 in the morning, okay? And meets 5 days a week. If you don't want that first period class, right, then you would just select 6 courses and your school day would begin at 8:30. Now, once again, please keep in mind, I'm talking about a normal traditional school schedule. Right now we are in remote and we will be moving to hybrid next week, I believe. I'm sorry, in the next 3 weeks, we'll be moving to hybrid. And then not sure what the beginning of the next school year looks like at this time. So keep that in mind. Now, why would you pick 7 classes? 7 classes gives you that opportunity to choose another elective. Now, why would I choose another elective? Because I want exposure in something that interests me. I want exposure in an area that I want to grow. But when I pick that first period class to pick that other elective, am I a morning person? Can I handle the workload of that additional class? Those are conversations you have to have with yourself. Those are conversations to have amongst the family. And then you can also have those conversations when you meet on Saturday, okay? Choosing an elective, please look at the list that's in your packet. There are an abundance of classes. Many of those, believe it or not, in fact, all of them, in one capacity or another, do filter into a career track of study in college or a career track right out of high school. So consider your personal interests, your future goals, and your aspirations. And there's one other thing I want to point out. There's our board that has been 17 years has passed a literacy graduation requirement. It is located on page 11 in the course description book. The only reason I mention that in here is some of your classes, when you open up your course selection tool, you may have some classes front loaded, meaning preloaded that we've already put in. If a reading class is in there, then that means that class is required and is not optional. Okay, so that's why I put that in there. If you see it in there, all right, know that you have to be enrolled in that reading class. Okay. All right, so I'm going to quickly go through and show you how to log into PowerSchool. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of quick screens first, and I'm going to show you the actual tool. It's very easy to use. First of all, PowerSchool. All right, you have to create your account if you haven't done so already. All right, our computer services department has mailed home its individualized information to our parents. It's for our parents to create their parent PowerSchool account. Students will create theirs later. Right now, it's just a parent account, okay? If you already have a parent school account because you currently have a student here at HF, if you have an incoming freshman, an incoming 8th grader to be a freshman next year, please go into your account. The directions are in that mailing to how to connect those 2 students in that one account. That's going to be important because in order to access your incoming 8th grader's course selection tool, he's going to need to be he or she's going to need to be connected into your PowerSchool account, PowerSchool parent account. Okay. Once you log in, all right, it'll take you to this page. You're going to click on the class registration button. It'll take you to this page. Here's the first period as the first option. All students, you must opt in or out of first period in the tool. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. There is a box to check. You cannot move forward and submit your course selections without first completing the first period box, okay? Does that mean you have to select the first period? No. Your very first option in that box will be, I do not want a first period class, and I'll show you that, all right? If you decide to take a first period class, you will have now then the addition, you'll have the option to choose an additional 1 full year credit elective or 2 half-year 0.5 credit electives. If you have any questions, write them down, bring them with you on Saturday. We're happy to answer anything that you have, okay? What you'll do is when you first get into this page, you'll see this red arrow. That's your first period box. See this other red arrow on the right-hand side? There's a pencil in a box. You will click on that box. It'll open it up. and then you'll either click the first period class you want, or you'll click the first option, which is no first period, okay? Further on down the screen, this is just a sample. I'm actually going to show you the tool. One of the elective slots that you'll be able to pick from is world language. The majority of our students will take world language their freshman year. Not all of them, but most will, okay? Same thing, if you want a world language class, all right, you're going to go to the right side, you'll click on the pencil in the box, it'll open it up, and then you'll pick the class that you want. So again, I'll show you that too when we get in there. On the very bottom where it says additional requests, okay, these classes down here are front-loaded classes. There are only 3 classes that will be front-loaded. 4 that will be front-loaded for you here, all right? One will be if you are currently in an HF math class, meaning either at the junior high or here. We already have those records. We've already moved you into the next class. Let's say, for example, you're taking algebra at James Harder Parker, geometry would be here, okay? So your math class might be front-loaded. It may not be, okay? It probably won't be, but for a small percentage of you, it will be. World language. Some of our students are accelerating their world language in Spanish and in Mandarin. If you're doing that, your next level of world language will be listed on this bottom, okay? So Spanish, world language, math, and then the 4th one would be your freshman PE class will appear in there also, okay? Your freshman PE is a semester-long class. The other semester-long class opposite that will be health. When you meet with your counselor on Saturday or your staff member, they will enter your health class into your course request. Normally the level of health class, we will match that up to your level of preference for your English class, okay? All right, I'm gonna exit out here. I'm gonna show you how easy this tool is to navigate. Okay, so how do you find the sign in? First of all, if you're new to this, you've created your account, you can go to the HF website under parents or students, but because it's the parent tab, under parents, scroll down to Power School Login, click on that, take you to this page, click on Power School, and then we'll log in. I'm going to use a test student. Once you log in, oops, that didn't work, sorry. All right, once you log in, this is the screen that is going to appear. Here's your class registration tab. Click on that. Takes you to your course selection tool. These are all the departments in HF that offer electives to freshmen, okay? The first thing you're gonna do before you do anything else once you log in is you're gonna go into your first period choice box. You're gonna click on the pencil box. If I do not want a first period, you're gonna click on that option right there, okay? And then you would click OK. If you do want a first period, let's say I wanna take Algebra 1 at the honors level first period. Click on Algebra 1, unclick no first period. You can only select one, okay? 1 year long. If you are selecting a semester long class, for example, like computer apps, semester 1, you would pick computer apps semester 1 and computer apps semester 2. Oh, it's only selected because it's the same one. You would just select the one and you'll be fine. Your counselor that you meet with on Saturday will finalize that with you and pick the second semester class. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna highlight your Algebra 1 because you do choose to have that first period. So you're gonna click OK. And then you're gonna go through and you're gonna say, okay, I want these other classes. Let me jump down to world language because I know I definitely want world language. So I'm gonna click on my world language class. All right, these are all my classes to pick from. It wasn't front loaded, so that must mean that I'm not in a world language class currently at HF or at my junior high. So I'll take my first year of Spanish 1 honors. I'm going to click on that and click OK. Then I'm going to say, you know what? I'm interested in theater. I want to take intro to theater. So I'm going to find my fine arts theater, click on the box, intro to theater box, click on that. Okay. I'm trying to career and technical ed. Notice that there are 3 different areas in career and technical ed. I'm going to click on the industrial tech area. You can do intro to engineering design, which is our entry level project lead the way pre-engineering class. We have our intro to small engines class. We have a full 4-year track of automotive education. We have woodworking as well. We have woods and metals, and we also have welding. So if you wanted to, you could click on one of those. All right. Notice down on the bottom, there was nothing front loaded, but if we had entered anything down there, there's nothing that you can manipulate in that area. Remember, that would be a math class, a world language class, and or your freshman PE class. When you're done, make sure you click submit. First period, why not? Let me go back in here. I had too many in there maybe. Here we go. And then it's going to show you on the end the classes that you selected. If you want to print that out, absolutely go ahead and do so. All right, so that way you have your record of what you selected. Okay, that is how easy that tool is to operate. Really, the work that goes into this tool is the work that you're going to do on the front end, reading all the materials that we've given you, perusing the course description book, familiarizing yourself with those classes, and then developing that list and going in and selecting those classes. So what I'd like to do is go back to present. All right, real quick, what are your next steps now? If you have not already done so, and there's still time to do that, so once again, I want to go back and reiterate, take a deep breath, relax, all right, and know that we still have about 4 days to complete what we need to complete in preparation for Saturday. Complete your student enrollment form. It was mailed to you. It's a green sheet. It's 2 green sheets of paper stapled together. If you did not receive that in the mail, don't worry about it. It is on our website. All right, and I'll tell you, I will let you know where that's at in 1 minute. So that's the first thing. Complete your student enrollment form and then pick up your information packet when you turn that sheet in. In the information packet, you're going to get a lot of that other information that we've referenced here tonight, in addition to your course description book. Secondly, if you haven't done so already, create your Parent Power School account. Okay, that information was mailed to you. Complete your proof of residency. That information, I believe, was mailed to you, but it's also, no, I think it's on our website. And once again, I will highlight the page in which that can be located. All right. Please complete your proof of residency no later than this Friday, 2 p.m. And then your last step is going to be, then complete, I see what I did. Oops. Complete your class registration in Power School, and then schedule and attend your Google Meet this Saturday. If you are looking for any of the information that we've talked about here, you can go to the HF website. On the top, click on the district info link, and then scroll down and find Freshman Class of 2025. Click on that. That's going to take you to the page with all this information and any additional information that we're going to provide. Now, there's one other piece. How do you schedule the Google Meet for Saturday? That link will become active at 7:30 on Wednesday, okay? So if you want to set your calendar, your phone to go off, 7:30 on Wednesday, the link to schedule your Google meeting, all right, will appear on this website here. All right, you can go to this website, you can go to this page, the link will be on there, click on that, it'll take you to the calendar, you'll be able to select your time, and then you'll be able to enter your name, and you'll schedule your appointment time for Saturday. You're going to receive an email link to that meeting. Please make sure you use that link at the appropriate time on Saturday to access that meeting. Okay. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay. A couple other quick comments. All right. Or other pieces of information. A lot of you guys are asking, what about summer school? you can find, there's information in the packet on summer school, but there's also information in the course description book on pages 120 to 124. Okay. Also, if you have any questions that can't be answered, you can call HF High School and just let them know you'd like to speak to someone about summer school, and they will contact you to our assistant principal's office who oversees summer school.
Hey,
One of your
Jim.
summer school opportunities, you have Summer Academy. That's a chance for you to be on campus and get exposed, kind of a preparation for your English, biology, and algebra classes. It's a great way to be on campus, meet classmates, start learning the layout of the campus, as well as starting to get to meet some of our staff members. Algebra honors or geometry honors. This is an invitation or consent of the math department chair. All right, invitations may have been sent out already, or if not, they will be soon. If you feel like you should have received one and you did not, don't hesitate to contact our department chair, Dan McLean. And then biology honors, also, once again, by invitation or consent of the science department. Okay, I do believe that those invitations have gone out. Let's see. Finally, health documents in the packet. The very last section of stapled papers are all the health documents that you need. All right. We ask that you have those completed and returned to HF before the first day of school next year. Now, I want to stress one thing, especially to our athletes. Please do not get your physical before May of 2021. The reason for that is your physical is only good for, I believe it's 13 months. If you were to get that physical between now and May, let's say, for example, next year you're playing baseball, or you're playing lacrosse, or you're running track, or you're playing softball, or badminton. You could be mid-year, mid-season, and your physical could expire. If you wait till after May, your physical will be good for your entire sports season next year. Okay. So please, you'll need to have those filled out, your child health care exam form and your Illinois dental exam form, and have those submitted to HF prior to the start of school year. Finally, questions and answers. If you have any, please go ahead and write them in the chat. We are going to go through and start answering some of those questions. We will be on at 7:50 now. We should be able to get through most of these, I would imagine, hoping in the next 40 minutes or so.
Hey, Jim, just real quick, one that came up repeatedly, the link for Google Meet availability, is that 7:30 a.m. or 7:30 p.m.? That'd be
Good question. 7:30 a.m. I'll have that first. And at that, so two things with that, just for full transparency, we're still setting the system up. I'm waiting for a couple more teachers to get to link their HF calendars into the system. And then that way on Monday, I can tell everybody Wednesday morning at 7:30, I will click the on button and you'll be able to access that. And then that'll be fair and equitable across that board for all students. So this Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m.
So Jim, how are you going to address the questions in the chat room? Do you want us to just go through them one by one, or how would you like for that to happen?
Yeah, Vaughn, that's what we did in our other meetings, and that's what I'll just start at the top and I'll read down, and we'll answer them to the best that we can and provide that direction. So our first question is, how do we complete the proof of residency? Is it online or in person? You could do either or. By logging into the HF website and going to that freshman class 2025 page, all the information on how to prove residency is on there. And Craig Fanton's office, our associate principal, Craig Fanton, is responsible for that. And he has created, I believe it's 4 or 5 ways in which for you to complete residency. One is you can come up to school and drop off your papers if you'd like, or you can upload your papers directly into the system. Okay. So how do I find out what my child access ID and password is on the parent portal? That would be a question through our computer services. Child access ID and password. We're not utilizing those right now. Right now, this is for Power School. You'll be using your the parent Power School portal.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They do need that access ID and password to create the account.
Oh,
So
for the
if they
stu-
did
oh,
not,
they,
that,
okay.
that was in the letter. So if they did not receive the letter, just have them reach out to some computer services, and we will get that letter mailed right back to them.
Okay. Gary, do we have them
I'm
call that
sorry,
number,
Gary,
the
how would you
help
like
desk, or email?
Yeah, how would you like for them to reach out to computer services, Gary, by email or by telephone?
Actually, email would be the best. You know what? I'll type the email address right in that so everybody can see it.
Thanks, Gary. Can the Google, let's see, All right, so for those that have issues, that are having issues with Power School, or have any questions regarding Power School, Mr. Posing, our Director of Technology, is typing that into that particular question. The email address, go ahead and send an email to that email link. All right, can the Google Meet individual online registration appointment be scheduled for another day other than Saturday? At this time, it is not. We will have other meeting times available after that. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. Right now, we are focusing on getting through this Saturday. What I would say is if you contact my administrative assistant, Linda McConaughey, her number is 708-335-5612. We will have that information, and we will also make that information available on the website once we get through Saturday. We just got to look and see what our schedules are like the next 2 weeks and how we're going to man that. But we will communicate that through our website. I missed the time frame for registration paper drop off to get the course. Oh, so right now you can do it anytime between 8 and 4 a.m., 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. If you come to the main parking lot, door 12, you can come in and drop off your, you can drop off proof of residency paperwork. You can drop off your student enrollment form if you'd like. And when you do that, you can pick up the packet of information, which includes the course description book. Let's see, my child has an IEP and we have the transition meeting scheduled for. Yeah, so thank you for that. If you have an IEP, your meetings are individually scheduled through the special ed department, in which several staff members will be there to guide you through. So that staffing meeting is very similar to what next Saturday is going to be like. So you're going to take care of all your registration needs at that staffing meeting at that time. Okay. If you have any questions, reach out to Cynthia Knox. She's on that green sheet. She is the department chair for special ed. If a parent will not be available Saturday, are there any alternatives? I'll be out of town on business. We will post those once we get that schedule up. We will post it on that freshman page. Yes, look for that the following week. That information will become available the following week. Most likely I'll have it on that Tuesday. Can you explain what sure, the IB program. So that's the other thing. Tomorrow night, if you received an invitation to the IB program, that presentation is tomorrow night, and you should have received a link to that via email. All right. That information is handled through our Director of Curriculum and Instructions office, Dr. Hester. The IB program is just another track, not just another, although when you look at the amount of classes and programs we have here, it's another track of study here at HF. It's accelerated. IB, International Baccalaureate, are actually classes that you can take junior and senior year only. And the IB program is freshman and sophomore year is preparation for those junior and senior classes, okay? Now, some students and parents might be thinking, but I didn't get the invite to the IB program. What opportunities are there for my child? Here's what I say all the time. HF offers a robust advanced placement AP programming as well. We have for 62, 63 years in our existence, and our students have done very well. If you are not in the IB program, then certainly having that conversation of how to move AP courses into your course sequencing over the next 4 years, that's the conversation to have. Is there an advantage of one over the other? Not necessarily. It really depends on the individual. Are you deprived because of opportunity because of not being an IB? No, it's a different type of learning experience. IB stands for International Baccalaureate. It was started back in the 60s by international business travelers who had to uproot their families and move from country to country periodically throughout their careers. And they wanted to develop a consistency of academic integrity, academic rigor, expectation. So they created this program. The IB development, the IB curriculum is described as more, it goes a lot more in depth. It can be a lot more global based, a lot more theoretically based. Whereas your advanced placement and your traditional course sequencing, while it has those components to it, they're looking at more content coverage as well. So if you have any more questions regarding that, don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Hester, our Director of Curriculum Instruction, or feel free to reach out to me as well, and I can forward you that I can forward you that contact information. What is the benefit of taking a first period class if it's not a requirement? It's, you know what, that is an individualized question. It's a great question. It gives you exposure into another elective that you might, really be interested in that I can't fit in otherwise. I'll give you an example. I've sent 3 daughters through HF. All 3 of my daughters took summer school and first period every year. And the reason why was to open up elective slots because they were performing arts, they were music, they were theater, and they were speech students. So in order to get those 3 classes into their schedules and the other experiences they wanted of AP courses, they needed to take that first period class as well as summer school options. So that's the benefit of it. And the benefit of it is allowing exposure to something that you would not otherwise be exposed to without utilizing that time slot. Okay. So if you have any questions, talk about that on Saturday. Bring an idea of, hey, I'm thinking of a first period, but I'm not sure. And here's my concerns about that. Okay. And we can help you kind of sort through that and come to a conclusion. Here's the thing. If you get through, if you're not sure about first period, go ahead and click, I don't want one right now. We can always change that Saturday. Anything that you enter between now and Saturday, your counselor is going to have full access to. All right. And we can make the necessary changes that we need to. All right. Was a link for registering online emailed out, or is that embedded within the portal? The link for registering online it was emailed out, but it's also on that website page. Remember, before you utilize that tool, you have to use the PowerSchool. You have to create a PowerSchool account first. And then that PowerSchool account will give you access once you log in. Can my child select 8 courses or only 7 courses is allowed? The most classes you can take during a school year is 7. How do you end up taking 8? Summer school. All right, so the most classes you can earn in a school year is 8 credits, the most credits. The most credits you can earn in a calendar year, meaning August to May or through May, is 7. Okay, I understand that taking a summer course can allow another elective to be freed up during the year. Will summer school be addressed since it seems to affect what electives are chosen in the fall? I'm not sure. Will summer school be addressed? On Saturday, yes. However, let's say, for example, you were invited into biology and you're going to take that in summer school. Your counselor on Saturday will still enroll you in biology. We will not change your biology class to the next class requested until we've seen that you've actually signed up for biology. How do we do that? We check the summer school enrollment, the summer school enrollment program every week. And once we see a student's name on there, All right, let's say, Johnny signed up for biology summer school, okay? We'll go in his course request, we'll take biology out. He'll have to take chemistry. All right, that's the agreement by taking chemistry. If he takes algebra, you go into geometry. Okay, if you take geometry, you go into automatic, you go into algebra 2 trig. Those two classes, algebra and geometry, I'm sorry, your math and your science, have an automatic filter into that next course year. Okay. Let's see. Does IJP 8th grade algebra 1 allow for geometry 9th grade? Yes. Yes. As long as you're, and sometimes the information transferring from the junior high to here, it's relatively smooth, but sometimes there are things that may not transfer easily. If for any reason you have a question, don't worry about it. Go through Saturday, get as much entered, as much information as you can entered with the academic advisor, and then you can always reach out to the math department chair or myself. And between Dan and I, we will have that taken care of. Or we will email you back a reason why there's a misunderstanding here. Let me explain that for you. Okay. If your child is currently enrolled in an HF math class as an 8th grader, but is planning to take the next level during summer school, we will not change the math class. Let's say, for example, your child is enrolled here at HF in geometry, all right, or algebra. I know it's geometry. But you're going to take algebra 2 trig honors in summer school. All right, your child will still be enrolled in algebra 2 trig right now. All right, when you meet Saturday, and then once we see him enrolled in algebra 2 trig, we'll move that class out of request, and then we'll go in and we'll put the pre-calc class in. All right, remember, math, you have to be enrolled in a math class all the way through the completion of your junior year. I created a Power School account and have the app on my phone. Thank you. Here's what I've been told from computer services. Do not use the app in order to select classes unless you go through a browser, meaning Safari or Google Chrome, through your phone into Power School. If you just go into the app, you're not going to be able to access that Power School, that Power Schedule, that course selection tool. If you have any questions regarding that, email our computer services department and they can reach out to you with further information. What time does first period start? Traditionally now, we're talking traditionally, normal school year would be 7:30. The unique thing about a first period class on a traditional schedule is that first period runs 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, from 7:30 to it's 8:20, 8:25, somewhere in that window. All your other classes are on what's referred to as a block schedule, and you meet with those teachers only 4 days a week. Too complicated to get into. It's easier to see with a visual. Don't worry about all that right now. Know that under a traditional schedule, our first period classes meet 5 days a week for 50 to 55 minutes, okay? So if you are already taking an HF math class as an 8th grader, it does not count towards your 3. That is correct. That is correct. You have to be enrolled in a math class through your junior year. In class registration section, we're only selecting the, thank you for that. I meant to highlight that. Yes, you are only selecting your electives. You will have the conversation regarding your core courses, okay? And then really your core courses are kind of picked for you already, meaning you have to take a math, you have to take biology, you have to take English 1, you have to take freshman PE and health. The conversation you're gonna have around those classes though are, what level do I want to take those classes at? And once again, I want to stress, you don't have to take them all at the college prep level or at the honors level. You can say, and it's an individualized course conversation. Where are my strengths? Where do I think that I excel? Then that, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. It's probably an honors level class. These other areas, where do I think I'm at? I'm at that college prep level, but can I push and be successful into that honors level? Remember, you want to start your freshman year with a strong academic successful experience. I cannot stress enough A's, B's, and the occasional C. And once again, the occasional C is over 4 years. Why? If you receive mostly A's and B's your freshman year, your grade point average is going to be 3.0 or higher. What we've seen the majority of thresholds for colleges for admissions, that 3.0 really begins to differentiate admissions opportunities. Okay. It doesn't mean if you're below that, you can't get into school. Not at all. Absolutely. All right. But it also scholarship. While we do know some scholarships are offered below that 3.0, for the most part, the majority, that cutoff threshold tends to be that 3.0 and higher. I want to stress though, are there scholarship opportunities below that 3.0? Yes. Okay. The majority of what we experience, they're above. Are college admissions available below the 3.0? Absolutely, they are. The differentiation comes in at 3.0, higher or lower, depending on the type of school or possibly even the type of program you may be looking at. There are a number of factors that go into that post-high school college opportunity. I don't want you to get hung up on that, but I want you to know, I'm going to come back to freshman year. Grades matter. A's, B's, and the occasional C. Okay. Does summer courses affect anything here? Absolutely. So your freshman year, that academy class is a good support class. It's a good class to, like I said, to get your feet wet on campus, get exposed, to develop some friendships with HF staff as well as other classmates. Okay. And as well as prepare for, what does it mean to be an HF freshman? What does it mean to be in a high school biology class, algebra class, or an English class? What are the expectations? That's what you're going to get out of that academy class. Okay. Your math and your science classes, those will accelerate your math and science track. All right. When you move on into your sophomore year, you are actually able to take a graduation requirement during summer school, if you'd like. Going into your sophomore year, you can take world history. Going into your junior year, you can take US history. Going into your senior year, you can take economics. And one of those summers, if you'd like, you could also take, not in conjunction with the year-long class, you may take in place of it a semester-long, your civics, US government, and politics course. Why would you do that? Because much to my disappointment as a former history teacher, my students didn't care, my children didn't care for social science. I don't know where I went wrong on that one, but they preferred to take it over the 6 weeks in summer, get it out of the way. But their real reason for that was also they wanted to open up another slot to take their their performing arts courses. So that would be one of the reasons in which to do that. Okay. How do you schedule the appointment with your counselor? Starting on Wednesday morning at 7:30. If you go to the HF website, under the district info tab, scroll down to the link for freshman class 2025. When you enter that page, the link to schedule that appointment will be in there. At that time, it will be active. You'll click on that link. It'll take you to the tool. You'll be able to pick your time, enter your information, and then you will get an email response back to you with that link, with the Google Meet link information.
Mr. Schmidt, just a little
Yeah.
clarification. A few parents have asked, is that AM or PM for when the Google link will be available? Could you clarify for them?
Absolutely, sure. Well, yes, that is going to be AM, 7:30 in the morning. All right, we will have that activated first thing in the morning on on Wednesday. If my student's taking a course in the summer, do I include it in the schedule? You're going to have to right now. And then we change on the back end. Oh, by the way, when you meet with your school counselor, you are going to list up to 4 electives. And the reason we do that, depending on what class you're taking in summer, all right, we can reach into that. Well, here's the thing. We can reach into that electives if you don't get the elective you want and look at your other elective choices. Remember, if you're taking math or science in summer school, I got to stress this. you're automatically going into the next level of math or science. So if you're taking bio, you will take chem as a freshman. All right, why? So why take bio in summer school? To accelerate your sciences, okay? Your math, why would you take math? Because you want to accelerate your math. Now I will caution you, and one of the parents kind of hit on it when they asked the question already. So if I take math in summer school, do I have to, does that count towards my 3 years? And the answer to that is no. So be aware that, let's say, for example, you take geometry in summer school. That means freshman year will be Algebra 2 Trig, sophomore year will be pre-cal, and junior year will be calculus. Now, most of our math students who are accelerated want to get to that pre-cal level. We have multiple options at the pre-cal level, okay? But I think that the conversation that I often have with students is, how confident are you in your math? How much do you love math? How well do you perform in math? And if you feel like you have a solid footing, math in summer school and accelerating your math could be a great option for you. We do have some students that go into summer school, they struggle with it, and then we give them an elective credit for that summer school opportunity, right? Because they've done the work. And then during the freshman year, we will put them back in that class so they will have exposure to that class again, all right? You actually have that option to do anyways, because at HF, under Dr. Anderson and Dr. Mansfield several years ago, they've implemented a retake replace policy. So you can retake a class you've already taken. And if you earn a higher score, a higher grade, that grade will replace the previous grade that you've had on your transcript and in your grade point average calculation. So keep that in mind as well. Do we call to register for a meeting? Nope. Once again, that link is going to be, it's going to open at 7:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and that is located on the HF website. Is the link live 7:30? Yeah, a lot of people at 7:30 a.m. or p.m. It is in the morning. A lot in there. Can freshmen do biology during summer school? That is either an invitation program. If you feel like you should have been invited and you weren't, you can always reach out to our science department chair, Kim Smith. You have that name in the packet. It's that quarter green sheet. She can give you the, I don't know what the parameters were by which students were selected or invited into that summer school course. Mrs. Smith is going to be the best person to give you that information. And if it was an oversight and she approves that, she'll notify the summer school office for you to be able to register for that. If not, she will be able to give you an explanation as to why your son or daughter was not selected for that invitation, but then also maybe answer some questions in preparation for what that freshman year, because here's the other opportunity. If you don't get invited freshman year, so in between freshman and sophomore year, we also offer chemistry honors in summer school for those students who are in biology as a freshman. That as well is also through invitation. Where is the health document packet? The health document packet should be in the packet that if you turned in your student enrollment form, and you received the packet with the course description book, that should be in that packet. If not, let us know and we'll be able to get one to you. Reach out to my assistant, Linda McConaughey, at 708-335-5612, and she will make sure that one is made available to you. So one of the questions, can I give more invitees for classes? Out of this office, no, those are handled by different offices. So our science invitees, that is handled through our science department chair, Kim Smith. Our math invitees is handled through our math department chair, Dan McLean. And our IB invitees, that's handled through our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Hester. Her contact information can be located on our website. Oh, when will the details for the school bus services be provided? Well, let's take that twofold. I'm assuming we're talking about summer school buses. Well, we don't know entirely what summer school is going to look like. Let's assume we're still in hybrid mode at that time, hopefully, and students are able to be on campus. If so, buses will be available. That information will be coming out later. All right, as well as the school, that bus information does not come out until once you do registration the second time. That brings me to another point. All incoming freshmen will prove residency twice. You're proving it once now for this Saturday. Without proving residency for this Saturday, you will not be able to schedule your meeting, your courses, okay? The second time that you will prove residency will be over the summer when all students prove residency every year. Usually that's towards the end of July, real beginning of August, just depends when the start of school is. That information will be coming out in May and June, okay? And that will be mailed to the house. Mr. Cush, is a student report in Power School? We never received them and I didn't see it online, that individual student report.
No, they're not available in Power School. If you didn't receive it, you just need to email measter@hf233.org. Let us know your student's name. It also help if you include their birth date in case there's multiples or whatever. And we'll match them up and look into it right away.
Another question, how does my child access the HF email address that was sent to us in the parent email? Mr. Posing, I don't know if you're available. I'm not entirely sure what that question is asking. I'm not sure if you can decipher that.
The student email?
Yeah, did we send that information yet?
Yeah, I don't think we have. That's, I'm a little confused. I don't remember that being included in this in this mailing. Yeah, students do have accounts, but there's no use for them right this moment.
So Mr. Posing, just maybe to follow up to this is, when do students normally get that information and then set up their Power School accounts and their Gmail accounts?
That normally happens is if they're going to attend summer school, they'll get it at that point, or they get it at the freshman orientation in August, just before school starts.
Thanks, Mr. Posing. I included residency information in my registration packet. Was that okay? Absolutely. Yes, if you turn that in when you came to get your packet with the student enrollment form, we have everything. If for some reason anything was missing out of, several of our parents did turn in their residency paperwork when they picked up the packet. If you were missing anything, that office would have notified you. Or if they're going through Friday's batch today, they would have notified you today, or they'll notify you tomorrow. If you do not hear from our associate principal's office, everything that was required was in that packet. Can I still drop off the student enrollment form? Absolutely, please do. If you have not dropped off that student enrollment form and you have it and you're able to, please come up to the campus, come to door 12, come in, drop it off at the security guard. And then at that time, they'll give you a packet of information. If you are unable to come up to school, but you can scan it, you can always scan it to us and email it to us. Email it to me at my address, my email address. I'm on the green sheet, and I'll make sure that my assistant has that paperwork. My proof of residency has been turned in. Is that okay? Yes. Proof of residency can be dropped off the same time, 8 to 4. Our security desk is manned from 8 to 4. It's actually manned beyond that time. But right between 8 to 4, you'll be able to pick up that packet. We'll have those packets available as well. I dropped off documents for proof of residency. Do I need to complete? No. If you've turned in paperwork and you have not received a phone call yet, you are good to go. How many electives do we sign up for? Pick as many as you want right now. Have fun with it. Get excited about what we offer. I'm telling you, I could go on for days about first of all, about what we offer, the opportunities, the doors it opens, and the opportunities that that they have afforded our students after high school. It is absolutely phenomenal what your children are going to experience over the next 4 years. I think the program only allows you to pick 7. When you meet with an academic advisor on Saturday, they're going to limit that number to 4. We just need to know what 4 of those course requests are, and we're going to want to know them in preferential order. What's your number 1 choice? What's followed by number 2, 3, and then 4? Why do we do that? Most of our students are able to get their first choice. Not always, but a lot of our students are able to get their first choice. We try to accommodate. One of the ways in which HF builds a master schedule, we are going off our student requests. And if there are enough students requesting a class, Dr. Anderson, Dr. Mansfield is approving that class to run. Our goal then is to try to get as many of the students that requested it into that class. Where do we get student ID information? Dave, I believe the student ID information was attached, or what is located at the top of that student profile sheet, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they received their student report in an email. It should be in there. If you didn't receive your student report, please email, as we said before, measter@hf233.org. We're going to look into your report at that time. We can also get you your ID number.
And I believe, as Mr. Posing pointed out, I think in the email that was sent out regarding registering for Power School, for Parent Power School, student ID information is in that as well. I'm not sure what this next question is. Where is the email? I'm not sure what email we're referring to. If my child never received a student report, how do we go about getting that? Mr. Cush just shared email measter@hf233.org, and we'll begin looking for that and getting that information out to you. When can you pick up the registration packet from the school, and where do we go? All right, door 12, picking up the registration packet, dropping off any paperwork. Door 12 is our main entrance. It's the main entrance off the big parking lot of the building on Kedzie Avenue, not Governor's. Governor's is North Building. The main building on Kedzie Avenue is South Building. All right, the big parking lot, the main entrance is door 12. You'll come through that door. Security desk will be right there. Anything you want to leave, you can leave with them. And then picking up that packet, those packets are available at that door. Why is the IB meeting information only sent to select households? I'm going to ask you to reach out to Dr. Hester. Once again, I'm not certain of the criteria by which students were selected for that. That registration process is slightly different as well in terms of the conversations of the courses and the course sequencing. And Dr. Hester can explain all of that in detail. Okay, proof of residency turned in. Oh, is it only athletes that have to do physical? No, all incoming freshmen have to have a physical on file. It's the only time I believe you have to have a physical, okay? That physical, though, is good for 13 months. If you are an athlete, though, you will have to have an athletic physical on file every year. Oh, some documents stated birth certificate was needed. Yeah, so there was a miscommunication early on regarding proof of residency. They left the birth certificate off. That is required, that is needed. We're going to request that before the start of school. If for some reason you did not present or make available a copy of your child's birth certificate, if you want to bring it up to school with your child's name on an envelope, if you want to hold on to that till over the summer, eventually you want to have that in your child's file, okay? That office will probably also be contacting you, letting you know that at some point we're going to need a copy of your child's birth certificate. Yes, residency, absolutely, residency information, including it in that enrollment packet. That was perfect. That was one of the ways in which you could submit your residency paperwork. We communicate very closely, work very closely with that office. In fact, every student enrollment packet went to that office, started there. They checked for residency paperwork and then sent it down to us. Yeah, can you please repeat where we'll find the Google Meet link on Wednesday? Sure. On the HF website. Info, it's a tab at the top, left-hand corner. Scroll down to freshman 2025, class of 2025 link. Click on that. That's all the information regarding your freshman class, incoming freshman class. The link will be in there. Do the students get credit for attending summer academy? Yes, you get up to 1 credit. That credit does count towards graduation, meaning the 22 total credit. It does not meet any official graduation requirements placed on the board by the board outside of the total number of 22. But absolutely, you do the work, you will earn that credit, yes. Are there other summer school options for incoming freshmen aside from summer academy? At this point, no, it's summer academy, invitation to algebra, invitation to biology. Will summer school be offered in person or remotely? We're having that conversation right now. And Dr. Anderson, I don't know if that's been finalized. I've heard that I believe we're planning for a potentially a hybrid model. That's the plan right now, but I can't speak definitively to that. And I don't know if a decision's been made.
That is the plan right now, to consider offering a hybrid model for the classes. But we believe that we're also going to need to have an online option too. So our team really is in the process of working on that, and more information should be coming out soon. Mr. Smith, while I have you here, a lot of questions about proving residency.
Yeah.
Like if a person has a child here and has already proved residency, do they need to prove residency again?
Good question, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, you're gonna have to prove residency. Incoming freshmen always prove residency twice, once now and then once again over the summer. If you currently have a student here, you will prove residency for all students at HF, again, every year, usually end of July, beginning of August, so yes.
And would you recommend that they go to the website in order to find the residency requirements? Is that where they find the information?
Absolutely. Same site as freshman class of 2025. It's located on the HF website under the district info tab on the left-hand side, and then scroll down middle of the page. You'll find freshman dash class of 2025. Click on that. All the information that's required for residency is located in there, and the 5 ways in which you can prove residency, the 5 methods in which you can upload or submit your documentation.
Okay, and you have 3 or 4 questions on that same topic about birth certificate. Can they use one that was on file at their last school? Okay, do they need an original one? Must they have a birth certificate? So those are some questions.
Yes, you do need a birth certificate. That is a state law. You can get the one from your previous school or the school you're currently at the end of the school year and bring it to us. It does not have to be the official birth certificate, a copy, but we do have to have one on file, yes. Once again, it's a state law. Schools have to have it. In fact, interestingly enough, full transparency, if we do not have a birth certificate, it's our responsibility to notify law enforcement. I believe it's the state police. And there's a number of reasons for that we've learned through our training. And I know our registrar is usually on top of that and will be in communication. So between our residency office through our associate principal, as well as our registrar's office, we do keep track of that and making sure we have the proper documentation in your students' files.
All right, thank you very much for all of those on residency.
Oh, let's see, income freshman, we're gonna take biology, chemistry. There's an interesting question. My incoming freshman will already have taken biology and chemistry. What science class would be available to him as a freshman? So that would need to transfer into HF either in the form of a proficiency, okay, or on an official high school transcript, okay? If that does that, then we would move your child along accelerated through the sciences. The best person to have a conversation with that would be Kim Smith, our department chair of science. But as long as those two courses are, as I said, on an official transcript or student proficiencies out of, they can move forward in their sciences. The next class would be physics, technically. It would depend on what math class your son was going into. The other thing to consider are maybe before moving into physics, maybe considering taking the AP Chem class or taking the AP Bio class, as those two classes would be more closely related to the prep that your child has already had, as opposed to taking those later on and allowing for that time lapse between exposure into Chem or Bio and then exposure later into the AP level. That the best person to have that conversation with would be Kim Smith. Invitations are not invitations for summer school. Those are through the mail. If you're being invited for, now there's no invitation sent out for Summer Academy that's open to all our students. Specific invitations for biology and math or science and math, those are through the mail. You should be receiving them in the mail. If you feel that your child should have received one and did not, please contact the department chair. Department chair for math is Dan McLean, and for science is Kim Smith. If we're not back in school by freshman year, what would happen if I want to take culinary? You'd still take culinary. We are running our culinary classes during remote right now. But remember, our plan is hopefully, if we're able to be hybrid for the remainder of the school year, if we're able to be hybrid for summer, we're hoping to then be hybrid at least minimally at the start of the school year, if not possibly even a better situation. There's so many factors that go into that decision making that right now, while we are talking about them, there's been no decisions that have been made. But by all means, I would encourage you to take culinary, because then you can move through our culinary track. First day of school for 2021, that has not been determined yet. Not that I'm aware of. I believe that is still being worked on with our administration, Dr. Mansfield, Dr. Anderson, and the board. Once it is, that will be made available to the public. And usually that comes out in February, late February, mid-February to mid-March, I think.
Hey,
You
Jim.
can always only take one credit total in summer school.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to sign off now, so I just wanted to one last time leave the contact info if anybody needs to reach out. So if you did not receive your placement report or something looks wrong, like data is missing, please contact M. Easter, MEASTER, M, and then Easter like the holiday, at hf233.org, and we will get on it right away and follow up with you soon.
There's a question here about students and, I'm sorry, Dave, was there something else?
Well, that was it.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks, Mr. Cush.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Students in Spanish honors right now, depending on how your child is doing, would you recommend continuing it in high school? Absolutely, I would. Now, that's an individualized conversation. My answer is a generalized response. Do I recommend world language in high school? Absolutely, I do. Minimally 2 years. Remember, 2's good, 3's better, 4 is best. But not always. It depends on the individual student. Depends on what their interests are, what their strengths are. Some students love world history and accelerate through it. Other students, and world history, world language, other students like 1 or 2 years or 2 or 3 years, I'm out. If you are currently in it right now, I would recommend at least taking 1 more year at the high school level. That would give you 2 years on your transcript. You would have the course you're taking at the junior high would appear on your transcript with a P, and then you would take at least 1 more year here. That would give you 2. All right. Now, a parent called earlier about this. Full disclosure, does that satisfy the requirement for college? Depends. There's approximately 6,000 colleges and universities out there. I can't answer that question for every single one. Here's my safe answer. Take 2 years at HF minimally. Meaning if you took 1 year at the junior high and you did well, come to HF and take 2 more. Then you've had 3 years. Why do we say 4 is best? Well, for competition reasons in the admissions process, but also, please note, there are some universities in this country. If you take 4 years in high school, you don't have to take another year of a world language on a college campus. By doing the work here over 4 years, you've just saved yourself a significant amount of time and money at the college level. So my daughter's in honors Spanish. We've already rolled you into Spanish 2 honors. If for some reason you don't want to, let your counselor know that when you meet with them on Tuesday, and they'll correct that. That's a conversation to have. Remember, if your child is enrolled in Spanish at the junior high, world language, Mandarin or math, we've already front loaded those classes. Dr. Anderson?
Oh, I was just, a few questions in here about invitations to summer school for biology. Do they have to be invited to take biology or can they just sign up? There's a few questions about that.
Oh, 2 things to that. Thanks, Dr. Anderson. You either have to be invited or you have to have the consent of the department chair. So once again, I apologize. I cannot speak to what those parameters are by which students were selected for that. I do know our department chair of science reaches into the junior highs, gets whatever grade metrics that she utilizes, determines those invites, and then sends those out. Once again, the person to speak to if you want to talk about your science invites are Kim Smith. She will be able to explain to you specifically why your son or daughter was invited, why maybe they were not. And maybe, as I said, maybe it's an oversight and maybe they're like, oh, we missed this. Absolutely, we go ahead and, so that would be the consent of the DC. And then your math DC is Dan McLean. Reach out to him if you have any questions regarding math invitation. I didn't pick up a course catalog when I went to drop off my enrollment form. Yeah, you can absolutely come on back. Let them know that at the security desk, they have them up there. Those packets are up there. Come up and grab one. One question is, sorry. I'm on Power School and I'm so confused by all these checks. Am I supposed to go in all these? No, you do only go into the class links that you want. So that's the pre-work that you have to do. What electives do I want? What department are they in? And then I find that department on that sheet. I go into that department, I open it up, and then I click on the class I want. So then those classes will be reported into the system. You do not have to go into every single department, just the departments in which the electives are that your child would like to take as a freshman. If you have any questions, once again, don't worry about it when you meet with the counselor on Saturday. We will go through and correct anything, answer any questions. We will make it right before you leave that meeting on Saturday.
Mr. Schmidt, for those parents who have kids in special education, should they try to make an appointment for Saturday too, or should they wait?
No, so yes, thank you, Dr. Anderson. Students with IEPs, if you have any questions, contact Cynthia Knox. She's the department chair of special ed. Those individual meetings have already been scheduled through the special ed department. That will be their registration meeting. That's when all your course selections will take place. There is nothing else that will happen on Saturday different from that meeting, and your course selections have to take place through your IEP staffing meeting. Oh, good question. What's the cost for summer school? Once again, there's a double question. You can only take one class, one credit in summer school. The cost, I believe it's $350. It's $175 for each semester. The bus is, I believe, an additional $40 semester. Don't quote me on that directly. The information is in our course description book, or you can contact the switchboard and they'll put you into contact with our office, summer school office, and they can answer that question. But I do know the cost of summer school is $350. It's been that way for many years. The bus cost is either $40 or $45 a semester. What day would school start? We do not know that yet. You can scan and email the documents, depending on what documents you want. If you send them to my assistant, Linda McConaughey, she will make sure that the people that need to get them will get them. So Linda McConaughey, her information, or if you send them to me, my email address is on that green sheet. Send them to me. I'll get them to my assistant, and then she'll make sure they get in the offices where they belong. That's going to be the easiest course of action for you. When should you hear from the council for time for meeting? You're going to schedule that meeting. Once you schedule that meeting, then you are going to receive an email with the link to that meeting. At the time of that meeting, click on that link, and on the other side of that screen, your computer screen, will be your school counselor waiting for you. And then you will have a half an hour time in order to have a Google Meet to talk about any question, answer any questions you might have, talk about any courses that you might be interested in, and then they'll finalize your course selection before the completion of that meeting. You can drop off your birth certificate with the security guard at door 12. Yes, can you upload your child's birth certificate and the proof of residency? Yes. That's interesting. It says, how can a freshman take culinary 1 as an elective? It is not available on the Power School as I look. I will check that before I leave tonight. Are you looking under career and technical education? It's under the second career and technical education option, but the third overall option, because your first box is going to be first period. Your second box is career and technical ed, business. And then your next one is career and technical ed. I don't remember what that section is called. Click on that. Culinary should be in that section. If it's not, it'll be activated before I leave tonight. And you can click on that later tonight or tomorrow, if you'd like. Culinary 1. Remember, when you are selecting culinary, that is a semester-only class. So you're going to need to select culinary 1 and culinary 2, or you're going to have to click or select a different second semester, semester-long class. Okay. Will there be school fees? Yes. The school fees, not 100% sure what those are. In the past, they've been, I believe, $350. If you register early, I believe it's like might be $290. Oh, it might be $290. Dr. Anderson, Dr. Mansfield, I don't know. I don't have that information at my fingertips. It's in that ballpark in there. But yes, there will be school fees. Do either of you know what those are?
I don't know the exact number, but those fees won't be due until the summer, I believe, Jim.
That's correct. That's correct. In fact, that information will be pushed to you. You'll get it in the mail. It'll also be accessible electronically. You'll be able to pay those fees and do all your online registrations over summer, believe it or not, through the computer.
Yeah, Jim, I guess it's the definition of what registration is. You're registering once now for your classes, and that's why freshmen have to do it twice. And then you'll register with the entire student body for the start of the school year sometime in June.
Thanks, Dr. Mansfield. We have a question on here. Are freshmen going to have an open house? Our intention is yes. We'll see what that looks like moving forward. We do every year. Unfortunately, this year it was a little different. It was all virtual. But I will tell you this. Let me give you an example. So our current freshmen have not been on campus yet this year, right? We are having an open house for them. I believe it's that Saturday, the 22nd, of our current freshmen or any new students to our campus, not our incoming freshmen. That'll happen over the summer or in August. But we understand that our campus is vast. There's 2 full buildings. It's a quarter-mile walk between both. You are basically on what it similarly can be described as, in some cases, a college campus. We will find a way to get you on the campus when it's appropriate, to see the campus, know where you're going, know where your classes are, and things like that. What that's going to look like, we just don't know right now. For sports, are you signing students up tryouts? I don't know if I don't think that summer clinic information is available just yet. Reach out to our athletic department. Also check their website. There might be some information on there. I know if it's not up there yet, it will be coming out. When I say shortly, probably sometime in March, definitely in April. But if you'd like, reach out to the athletic office.
Yeah, I think if things continue to go the way they're scheduled now, we will have summer camps for freshmen this summer, and they call it contact days before the actual seasons do start. So you would just have to check the athletic message board, but do plan on there being some activities for freshmen this summer.
I love this next question, and unfortunately I answer no right now, but hopefully there can be. So the question is there a sign language club where they teach you sign language? No. However, to the student or parent that posted this, there is a process by which clubs can begin or can be started. I would encourage you to do this. This is a great, just a great opportunity for kids to learn another language. There are some colleges that actually recognize sign language, as they should, as a language. Most colleges, unfortunately, still do not. But we do not offer it as a class here, but and we don't have it as a club, but can you? We can. And student, you can begin that club. And what a great club that would be. I'd love to be a part of it.
Yeah,
I love the idea of sign language. Dr. Mansfield?
I did see another piece that fits into this very nicely. If you have a staff sponsor and can find a staff sponsor through the activities director, Ms. Gail Smith, you certainly can. We've got anime, and I think I did see a question, Jim, some time ago. Do we have anime club? And we do.
We do.
It's, again, open to the imagination for students to that degree. We have, gosh, almost 200 clubs and activities. So certainly sign language could be one of those, and it probably could easily be started with just the contact of a staff member, and you only need 1 or 2 kids to start, and you're good to go.
There's a question here that it's a little detailed. Is it true that if you take 4 years of Spanish along with 2 years of middle school, do you get an extension on your diploma? I'm not sure exactly what that means, extension on your diploma.
I think they're talking about the World Language Proficiency exam, Jim. A lot of times when students take at least 2 years of a world language in middle school, and then they take the additional years here at the high school, they can take a world proficiency language test. You don't have to have done that in high school. In middle school into high school, but you can take the proficiency test, and they do add that proficiency to your diploma after you've completed the test. So that is a possibility.
Right, Dr. Mansfield, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that. It's actually referred to as the seal of biliteracy. And that seal is attached on it is placed on your diploma. And there is a proficiency test taken your senior year in order to qualify for that. Will freshmen automatically get their first period request? Not always. We try to. If you request a first period class, there's like a 99 I'll be honest with you, there's a 100% chance in the past that you've received a first period class. Do we try to honor your first period request? Yes, we do. We're not always able to. Like, let's say, for example, you requested algebra first period. Those algebra classes may fill up. Does that mean you won't get a first period class? No. Our goal is to then go and find of your other classes that you are taking as a freshman, which other ones are available first period, and we'll see if we can fit one of those in. I will tell you this, a high percentage of our students are placed in the courses that they request. Not 100%, but it is a high percentage. Will there be a fee waiver? There is a process for fee waivers through our business office. I'm not sure what that is, but that information will be provided to you once that information goes out regarding registration. Last question. I submitted my residency. Well, nope, there's others. Who is the cheerleading coach? Right now, I believe it's Xenia Smith. Xenia's been here for several years. Got probably much more than that, Dr. Mansfield. Dr. Anderson, I can't speak directly, but she's been here a while. She's an outstanding coach.
Yeah. You're correct. It's been over 10 years, and our cheerleading team has gone downstate several times, and it is a co-ed cheer team.
Oh, okay, the last one. I submitted my residency forms 129 and was told it was received, but it's blank in Power School. Who should I follow up with? You can call. They probably just haven't gone in and checked it in there yet. You can call our assistant principal's office, or I'm sorry, our associate principal's office. If you dial 708-335-5594, that is Paula Luter's extension. She is our associate principal's administrative assistant. She will be able to verify that for you and get that taken care of. Honestly, she probably just hasn't gotten to that point of checking it off in Power School yet. Dr. Anderson, Dr. Mansfield, those are the end of our questions. It's 8:55.
Well, thank you so much for fielding the majority of those, Mr. Schmidt. I think the people that stayed on are the ones that probably hopefully got their questions answered and also got the additional perk of the information. So this has been, like I said, an opportunity just to give you a chance to field as many questions as you may have. And even so, if you have additional ones, you can put a name with a face, Dr. Anderson, along with Mr. Schmidt and myself, and also Mr. Cush, who had to leave, certainly can get the information back to you. And again, it's exciting. It's probably a little scary at points and times in terms of all the many different things to get done, but it will get done. So, do feel confident in that. You got people that are willing and ready to help at every level. So, welcome to HF, and, look forward to a great experience.
There's one other question that came through. The registration link is not open till tomorrow. No, the registration link is actually open right now, the course selection link. If you're able to get in Power School, that link is open. The link to register for a meeting on Saturday will not be open till Wednesday morning at 7:30. Okay. The meeting registration link will not open till Wednesday morning, 7:30. February 9th or after this meeting? February 9th. Nope. February 10th. The course selection tool link in Power School is now active. You can go in and select your electives. The link to schedule a meeting for Saturday will not open until February 10th at 7:30 a.m. Thanks everybody who joined us. Dr. Anderson, Dr. Mansfield, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And just to reiterate, Mr. Smith answered a lot of questions tonight, but we are here to help too. So feel free to reach out, and thank you, Mr. Smith, for answering all the questions tonight. Mr. Posing, thank you, and thanks for everyone who attended.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, have a great evening.